we interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
What is finished is the idea that this great country is dedicated to the freedom and flourishing of every individual in it. It's the individual that's finished. It's the single, solitary human being that's finished. It's every single one of you out there that's finished. Because this is no longer a nation of independent individuals. It's a nation of some 200-odd million transistorized, deodorized, whiter than white, steel-belted bodies, totally unnecessary as human beings, and as replaceable as piston rods.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
You're listening to PT Pop on A Mind Revolution, leading you out of the rabbit hole, one grain of truth at a time.
Hey there, everybody, it's PT Pop here. All four lobes of my brain securely bound behind my back, and thanks for downloading me today. And today is episode 32 of A Mind Revolution, where I lead you out of the rabbit hole, one grain of truth at a time. And this last week on my YouTube channel, I had a live broadcast, and one of my viewers asked me why I don't broadcast my podcast on YouTube as a video. And it's a pretty simple thing, because for me it's very complex, because I've got to take the video and the audio and sync it and edit it down. So what I thought I'd do today is try to do it all in one shooting match. Do the video live right there, and do the audio here with the microphones and all that stuff, and just see where it takes me. We're just going to wing it here, people. So, but today is episode 32. And today I'm going to be discussing a book. I'm going to do a book review written by a gentleman by the name of Jaron Lanier. He's got a tremendous book that's right up my alley, right up my backside, my friends. Now, it's right up my alley about all of this stuff and how they're manipulating you and how they're using behavior modification techniques to control you and shape your mind and things like that. And his book is titled 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Right Now. It's a great book. You've got to get this guy's book. I'll go into a little bit more of it, and a little bit more of it, a little bit, and more of it. I'll do more detail in a little bit. I don't know. I'm from Ohio. I went to Ohio Educational System schools. So, yes, I blame everything on my education. But I'll get to that in a second. The big thing I'm doing right now. Oh no, this is the great segment.
And now, PT Pop's shameless self-promotion.
Yes. Where would America be without self-promotion and capitalism? So today, I'm going to tell you about a documentary I'm writing, and I'm really excited about it because I have a vision for it. And the documentary is about artists. And in my life, I've never heard of many people say good things about artists. They're usually referred to as being flakes or goofballs or weirdos, lazy or slobs, people that should get a real job. And in this documentary, I've got a few friends that are artists that I'm going to follow around with a camera crew. And I'm going to document their lives as real people. Show them as people that you can relate to prove that while they may be different than some of us, or different than how society would like us to be, they're productive individuals who provide beauty to the world and provide something that if they weren't around, you wouldn't have anything to look at. You wouldn't have anything to look at or read or listen to. The world would be pretty dull and lifeless. So I just hired a cinematographer to help me film it, because I can't write it and direct it and film it. I can't be behind the camera and, do everything I want to do, the way I want to do it. And I've hired a great cinematographer here. He's a Cleveland State graduate. His name is Eric McGuinn, And I just met him, and he's got some great work. And I'm really excited about working with him and doing this documentary. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know how long it's going to take. We're going to go out and visit my friend Logan in Tip City, and we're going to film him and doing his creative work and interview him and ask him about his life as a graphic designer and an illustrator and a painter. And then I've got a couple other people that haven't agreed to work with me yet, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It should be fun, though. I'm looking forward to it. So that's the end of my...
And now, PT Pop's shameless self-promotion.
So there you have it. Looks like I have a stick coming out of my head. A stick coming out of my head, yes. Maybe I should reframe this. What do you think? So the stick is no longer coming out of my head. Right behind me and joining me today is my dog Eli. That is Eli. There's a portrait I did of him when he was about 1.5 years old. He's a great dog. So I know one of you mentioned you liked my dog, so there's Eli. Still have a stick coming out of my head, don't I? I got a stick coming out of my head. This stick coming out of my head is driving me nuts, man, so I'm going to reframe this of the stick. You can't see the stick no more. There you go. Well, you can still see the goddamn stick. For those of you that are listening to the podcast, I'm filming this at the same time that I'm recording the audio, and I'm a bit of a stickler when it comes to sticks coming out of my head. So that's what I've been working on, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to kind of jump right into the main topic. But I know many of you who follow me on YouTube follow me because of my call center videos. And I am a call center survivor, a proud call center survivor, as many of you are as well. And I touched on this in my last YouTube video. I wondered if all the people who have lost their jobs in the service industry have gone to work in call centers. Because a lot of restaurants have closed, a lot of businesses have closed. And I'm sure people went online and went to Indeed, went to Monster and said, I can find a job, I'm employed again. And they probably fell for the whole thing with, getting hired by somebody who brought them in as a call center employee. So they're like, oh, I finally got gainful employment. I've got gainful employment. They're all excited. And I imagine those people are now suffering in the call center world. And these are tough times, man. These are really tough times for everybody. And I think we're all trying to find a way to make it. I know all my artist friends are basically fucked right now because everything's been canceled. Music gigs have been canceled and art fairs have been canceled. I mean, some of the people I know made really good money over the summer, myself included. I made really good cash last summer doing the whole art fair circuit. I did 2 art fairs, but I did really well at it. And I was going to do it this summer too, but they've all been canceled. So a lot of people out there who are artists are struggling, but people who work in restaurants and retail, this whole pandemic thing has destroyed everybody's livelihood. So I think a lot of people might be tempted to go to work in a call center, and I can't tell you not to, but I can tell you it's going to be very difficult. Very difficult. They're going to make it very difficult for you. And this is what I think about call centers. I had this thought yesterday, and this just proves, the call center environment proves that you have megalomaniac psychopaths running corporations, because the call center is proof that they do not care about the employee or the customer. It's just something they threw out there. The call center is designed to pacify the customer quickly, to get them on and off the phone quickly, pacify the customer, shut them up, and so they can go on with their day and provide some type of service. And it's designed with no intention in mind to really give good customer service, because in the environment of a call center, it's impossible to give good customer service with the kind of people they employ and the kind of training they provide, or lack of training. So you'll get into these call centers and you'll go, why is this so odd? Why is this so hard? Why do they make it so hard? And you'll see why this doesn't have to be this hard. And the problem is that they've never thought of another way to do it. They've never sat down and said, is there a better way to do a call center environment? And it's not that they haven't done it. They don't want to. It's an extremely expensive part of the business. It costs them billions of dollars a year to run not billions, but it costs millions of dollars a year to run a call center. And they've never thought of another way to do it because it's not something they genuinely care about. They just want to make sure the customer pulls out their wallet and gives them their money. That's all they want. They don't care if they're happy. Because the people at the top are out playing golf with Jeffrey Epstein types, and they're out with their hookers and their whores, and they're on their yachts and their jet streams flying around. They do not care about the individual person. And the call center is proof in the pudding that they don't care, because the call center is not designed to really give a good experience. They talk a lot about being a good experience. The customer's always right, and put the customer first, and all these little cliche sayings they have all over the call center. But hopefully those of you who have lost your jobs, and if you're working in the call center, hang in there. It's hard. And I would think you can work at it, you can do good at it if you put forth a lot of effort, but it's not, you're probably not going to get anywhere there. Don't expect it to be lucrative or a long-standing career. So what I'm going to do today is, since I'm filming and recording and everything, I'm just going to get right to the topic, because I love this book. And this leads me to part of my segment that I really like. And one of the things I really love, and what I think you love as well, is called...
And now, the word of the day.
The word of the day, my friends. The word of the day today is algorithm. And this applies to Mr. Lanier's book, Top 10 Arguments for Deleting Your Social Media Accounts Right Now. And I'm going to put a link to this book in the description to this video and to the podcast. But word of the day, algorithm. The definition per techterms.com. An algorithm is a set of instructions designed to perform a specific task. This can be a simple process, such as multiplying two numbers, or a complex operation, such as playing a compressed video file. Search engines use proprietary algorithms to display the most relevant results for their search index for specific queries. Now that's kind of like a 50,000-foot overview, but there's a lot of things in this book by Mr. Lanier that discuss algorithms and bots. And there's 10 arguments in his book about why you should delete your social media accounts. Now, you're sitting there saying, well, Pete, why should I read this book? Well, Mr. Lanier, Jaron Lanier, you're saying, who is this dude? Who is this guy? Who is he, man? Who the hell is he, you know? Is he a crazy person? Is he
What are you, some kind of half-ass astronaut?
Is he a half-assed astronaut? I don't know. I'm not making fun of Mr. Lanier because he's fascinating. If you ever want to see a fascinating interview about technology and about the internet and about social media, just Google or go onto YouTube and search for Jaron Lanier, and he's just fascinating to watch. Jaron Lanier, he's considered to be the father of and founder of virtual reality. So for all of you that wear the goggles and you're playing virtual reality games, or you're doing surgery, practicing surgery through virtual reality, Jaron Lanier is the father of this. He is like a big muckety-muck in the world of technology and information technology. Jaron Lanier is a scientist, musician, and writer, best known for his work in virtual reality and his advocacy of humanism and sustainable economics in a digital context. And this is what I took from, I think, the forward in his book. Yeah, I took this from his book about the author. Don't you hate Barry's wife? Sometimes I just think funny things. That's an obscure joke from the movie Arthur with Dudley Moore. And in 2018, Wired, which I believe is a technology magazine, named him one of the top 25 tech icons of the last 25 years. His 1980 startup, VPL Research, created the first commercial virtual reality products, and introduced avatars, multi-person virtual world experiences, and prototypes of major virtual reality applications such as surgical simulation. So he's fascinating. So he really knows what he's talking about and when it comes to technology. So in my previous episodes, and for my very first episode last year and up through this year, I talk about how each of us are manipulated on the internet and through the news media on a regular basis. There's a variety of behavior modification techniques they use with wording, with font, with colors, with sounds, with music. You're constantly being bombarded with ways to control you and control your attitude and your belief system and your wants and your desires and all those things. And this is what he hits upon in this book, because social media is doing all these things to you, and it's not for a good reason. It's all for nefarious reasons. And there are 10 arguments in the book. And I'm not going to go over all 10. I'm going to go over the first one. And I thought of making like multiple series about this book because he's got 10 chapters, but I think that would get kind of dull and dry. I encourage you to buy this book. It's an amazing book, and it'll change your mind. It'll make you want to quit your social media account, because I just deleted Instagram. I don't miss it a bit. It was so frustrating because I'd sit there with Instagram and I'd pull out my phone and I'd be like, oh, look at the pretty picture. Look, there's a cat juggling mice. Oh, so funny. Oh, look, there's a girl in leather panties. Oh, look, there's somebody took a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge. And I'd be riveted to my phone, like glued to it. And in the back of my mind, like, why am I looking at this? There's no reason to look at it. It's all just pablum. So I just quit Instagram. I'm just about to quit Twitter. But here are the 10 arguments. The first argument, I'm just going to go over the names of the chapters, then I'm going to go over chapter 1, and that'll be it. But argument 1 is, you are losing your free will. That's chapter 1. Chapter 2, quitting social media is the most finely targeted way to resist the insanity of our times. It's chapter 2. Chapter 3, social media is making you into an asshole. That is true. He'll talk about that, something called bummer. Chapter 4, or argument 4, social media is undermining truth. Absolutely, that's true. Chapter 5, or argument 5, social media is making what you say meaningless. Yeah, it's completely destroying any meaningful content out there. Chapter 6, social media is destroying your capacity for empathy, which is completely true. We've lost our ability to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes and feel for other people. Chapter 7, or argument 7, social media is making you unhappy. Definitely. I completely agree with that. I used to go into Facebook and I get so unhappy. I'd see other people's lives and see what they're doing. Being, oh, why couldn't I have this? Why couldn't I have that kind of house? Why couldn't I have that kind of toaster? And it's crazy. Chapter 8, argument 8, social media doesn't want you to have economic dignity. Chapter 9, argument 9, social media is making politics impossible. Isn't that the truth? Look at today's political environment here with President Trump and what's his name with the Alzheimer's disease? Bernie Ebbers. Or not Bernie Ebbers, I'm sorry. What is that guy's name? I can't remember. I'm the one with Alzheimer's. Not Al Gore. I can't think of the guy's name. He's so unremarkable. I can't remember anything about him. God, what is the name of the presidential candidate? I gotta look it up now. Presidential candidates 2020. It doesn't even come up. Joe Biden. I'm so not into politics. I think politics is destroying the world, and it has been for centuries, but especially now it's really bad. In argument 10, chapter 10, social media hates your soul. And all of this is so true. You've got to read his book. It's a little bit long-winded and a little bit verbose, a little bit. But if you want to find out why you're so screwed up from looking at social media, read this book, and I guarantee you will want to cancel all of your social media accounts. They're complete junk. Now, there's some useful aspects to it, but I've not really found many social aspects to it. But Argument one is what I'm going to discuss today. You are losing your free will. And there's a quote inside the book from Jaron Lanier that states, something entirely new is happening in the world. Just in the last 5 or 10 years, nearly everyone started to carry a little device called a smartphone on their person all the time that's suitable for algorithmic behavior modification. One of these things he's talking about. Okay. And you can get one of these covers. This is one of my photographs. You want to get this is some more shameless self-promotion. But this is one of my photographs of the West Side Market in Cleveland, Ohio. They've got a cafe with a really cool old Art Deco marquee outside, and I turned it into my smartphone cover. So there you go, some more shameless self-promotion. And
don't you have any respect for anybody else?
Respect? Yes, I've got respect for my ass. That's what I got respect for. It's all anybody respects. Respect my ass.
That's it, respect my ass. Thanks, Jack. But Jaron says, a lot of us are also using related devices called smart speakers on our kitchen counters or in our car dashboards. We're being tracked and measured constantly and receiving engineered feedback all the time. We're being hypnotized little by little by technicians we can't see for purposes we don't know. We're all lab animals now. We're all like little lab rats like in Pavlov's laboratory. Jaron continues in his book, Algorithms gorge on data about you every second. What kind of links do you click on? What videos do you watch all the way through? How quickly are you moving from one thing to the next? Where are you when you do these things? Who are you connecting with in person and online? What facial expressions do you make? How does your skin tone change in different situations? What were you doing just before you decided to buy something or not? Whether you voted or not. He states here, what once might have been called advertising must now be understood as continuous behavior modification on a titanic scale. So, what these algorithms do on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and what's the new one? I won't even sign up for it. It's called Twatter or something. I don't know what it's called. They have little algorithms which are like little programs in the background that are keeping track of everything you do. They know who you are. They know what you look like. They know your facial expressions. They know the food you like. They know the sex you like, because especially if you look at porno, they know everything about you. They know who your friends are and how often you talk to them, how you speak. They know the inflections of your voice. They know when you're happy. They know when you're sad. And they're keeping track of all this. Somebody's keeping track of it somewhere in a giant database, probably in a giant server farm somewhere in the Utah desert or something. And the basic idea behind the book is that they're using this information, number one, to sell you advertising. And they're listening to what you're saying through the speaker on your phone. So the speaker down here, I think it's down here on my phone. The speaker down here, I think it's this one. One's the speaker and one's a microphone. So through the microphone, they can listen to what you're saying. They can listen to you through Alexa. They can listen to you if you have the Alexa thing that, controls your lights and controls your TV set and controls your butthole and all that stuff. So they're constant listening. It's constantly a listening device. They're legally tapping your life. They've tapped into your life, and they're listening for everything you do. So if you've noticed, like the other day, I was talking to my wife on the couch about going back to Monument Valley, Utah, on vacation to do some more photography. And I picked up my phone, and it opened up YouTube, and in the sidebar was an advertisement for Monument Valley, Utah, for vacations in Utah. Now, if that doesn't freak you out, I don't know, nothing will. But they're listening to everything we do, every single thing we do. And they primarily use it to structure their advertising campaigns, to structure political campaigns, to structure anything they want. And it's gotten so out of hand that a lot of these companies now, they believe, are selling your information to nefarious organizations. Now, I'm trying to think of the one social media account that just opened up. I don't use it. It'll probably pop up here when I pull it up. God, what is that thing called? But it's a new one, and it's run out, I believe it's run by a company out of China. And anyway, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Is it? It's not Snapchat. No, this is an old one. So anyway, so they take this information and they use it against you. And it became, I'm also reading a book called Targeted, which is all about Cambridge Analytica and how they used Cambridge Analytica for Brexit, and they used all the data they calculated from people and they gathered from people from Facebook and used it against people to manipulate them to vote one way or the other. So the data is used to manipulate you to vote for certain candidates, to like candidates, to hate candidates. It's manipulating the entire political environment. And they use all this technology and data to manipulate you, use you, and in the future, they could possibly use it against you in a court of law, especially if they want to, God forbid if they want to tag you with something you didn't do. Let's say you look at some type of weird kinky stuff on the internet and they think you killed somebody. They could probably use this and say, well, it looks like this guy may have done it because he's looking at this kind of porn on the internet and he was in the same vicinity, but you may not have done the murder. But they can use all this information. They're desperate to get somebody, convict somebody. But as they look at this and they study this book was fascinating. And I think you've got to read it because this goes right up what I'm talking about. And you're being manipulated every single moment you're logged into your social media account. Everything you do is recorded, documented, and analyzed. They use this data to manipulate you, sell you products, and influence your behaviors. They're using behavior modification techniques every moment you're logged into your social media accounts, every single moment. Everything I've talked about on here, they're using colors and fonts and sounds, oh my. Colors and fonts and sounds, oh my. And they do this all the time. The algorithms know who you're talking to, how you feel, what you eat, etc. I mean, can you imagine? They know, like if I talk and say I love pizza, you'll see commercials for pizza all of a sudden. And it's getting to be really scary. And Jaron goes over this in his book. Jaron states here, the core process that allows social media to make money and that also does the damage to society is behavior modification.